Hi there, welcome back to With Love Leisha, and if you're new, then welcome to my channel. Today we're going to crochet these incredible dusters, and we're going to learn the solid granny square pattern. So we'll be crocheting these in Bernat Baby Blanket Yarn, which is what gives them the fuzzy quality that makes them amazing dusters. I've been crocheting these on repeat since last week, so I wanted to do a tutorial for you. I think quick projects and useful, eco-friendly, sustainable items are wonderful for the crazy time that we're in, so I thought you guys would really have fun with this. Now, because of this yarn, I have to admit, this fuzzy yarn, that's what gives it the great quality of being an amazing duster, but it's difficult to work with if you're new. So if this is your first project, you can still follow along with this tutorial, but I would recommend using regular yarn for this. And if you have a few projects under your belt, then this is a super fun project to do. We need a crochet hook. I am using a size K 6.5 mm hook. It's a little smaller than what the yarn recommends, but I find that a smaller hook size works better for this yarn. You also need something to cut your yarn with. These are yarn scissors, but any scissors are fine. And you need a yarn needle or darning needle. I have this set that I got from Amazon. You can get these in the craft store for just a couple bucks in sets of 2s, but I'll link the set that I got because I think right now, in the time that we're in, ordering on Amazon might actually be better. So it came with 14 of these crochet hooks in different sizes, and these yarn scissors, and a bunch of stitch markers. So it's a really cool set. And of course you need your yarn. So I'm using Bernat Baby Blanket Yarn. I got mine at Michael's. You can probably find it in any craft store, anywhere you're able to order online right now. I will link the exact colors that I'm using in the description box for you. Okay, so the first thing we need is a magic ring, a magic circle, magic ring. It's the same thing. That's what we're going to be crocheting into to make this square. So let me just give you a little heads up here on where we're headed and how this is constructed, so you have that vision in mind. So this square starts out working from the middle. There's a round ring in here. I have crocheted into that ring and moved outwards. So the first step, we need to create that ring. So to make the magic circle, take the tail end of your yarn, bring it underneath your longer piece of yarn. Just like that, give yourself a tail and keep the loop a little small. You don't want a very big loop. It will make this more difficult. Hold on to this loop with your left hand where the two yarns are crossing each other. Take your crochet hook, hold it parallel to the ground. Insert into the loop that you've made from the front to the back and grab your longer piece of yarn. Pull it through the loop. Turn your hook straight up and down. Now let go. Pick up that working yarn and gently pull on it to bring this circle. You want to guide that circle closer to your hook. When you have the circle pretty close to the hook, you're going to yarn over and pull through that loop. And then you want to tighten that a bit. That's locking your loop in place so it doesn't open up. Now we can start working into this round. So we're going to be crocheting with the double crochet stitch, and I'm going to show you how to do that. First though, we need a chain 3. So we're going to yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, and pull through the loop. If you need to know how to hold your yarn and your hook, I have a tutorial on that, and I will link that in the description box for you. You can go ahead and check that out. Now, one of the most confusing parts about working into a magic ring or a magic circle as a beginner is how to work into it, how to crochet into it. It gets a little fidgety and flimsy. So watch my hands and I'll show you how to give yourself some leverage, because that's what you need here, is leverage to be able to work into the circle. So I'm holding on to it like this. I have my ring finger locked in here at all times. And these two fingers will move up and down based on what I'm doing. So pay close attention to that if you're having trouble working into this circle. Now we're going to put our first double crochet into the circle. This chain 3 works as the first stitch, the first double crochet. We need 4 sets of 4 double crochets. So picture a square. On each edge of that square, each side, we need 4 double crochets. For the first side, this is 1. We're going to do 3 more. So put your hook to the left of this chain 3 that you just did, insert, yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And that is your first actual double crochet, but your second stitch on the first side that we're working on. Once again, yarn over, go into the circle to the left of your stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. I'm holding on here, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. If this would be easier for you, knowing how to do a double crochet, I will link that in the description box for you. I have a tutorial on the double crochet stitch. You can check that out and come back here. Otherwise, you can just stick with me and we can continue on. So we have 3. We need 1 more. So once again, yarn over. This is how my fingers are holding the loop. Crochet to the left of your last stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through your next 2. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. This is our first side. Now we're going to yarn over and chain 1. This breaks up our block. So now we can work on our next block, and that's going to be our next side of the square. So yarn over, go into your circle to the left of your last stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through the next 2. Continue doing that. You want to create 4 double crochets for your next block. I'm going to speed up a bit so that this isn't crazy long. I'm hoping you get the idea by now. And I won't hyperlapse this so that you can watch my hands working if you need to. My yarn is giving me some trouble. I'm sorry. Bear with me here. Okay, I have my next set of 4. I'm going to chain 1. So this is our 2 sides of the square. I'm working on my 3rd block. I'm going to just continue putting 4 double crochets, working them into the circle. You can pause. I'm going too fast. I'm just doing the same thing I showed you on repeat. So when you get to your last stitch in your last set of 4, I will show you how to join your round. Okay, so I've done my last chain 1 after my last set of 4. So don't forget to do 4, chain 1, do 4, chain 1, do 4, chain 1. So you should be ending on a chain 1. Okay, so once you're ready to join, you're going to find your actual first double crochet that you crocheted. Not the chain 3, the first double crochet. Find the top of that stitch. This is the top of the stitch. It's literally right at the top of the stitch. Next to that, find the next place you can insert your hook, the next hole. That is where you're going to go in. So let me see if I can show that to you more clearly. This is the first actual double crochet. This is the top of that stitch. I don't want to go in here. I'm going into the hole next to that stitch. Okay? So go right in there, and I'm going to yarn over, pull through the loop, and then pull through the loop that's on my hook. So we have slip stitched our first and last stitch together, closing off our round. Now you can start pulling on this tail to close the center. You need to pull firmly, be gentle but firm, and you might need to guide the stitches as you pull if your yarn is a little sticky. You don't need to close it up all the way, just enough to be comfortable to continue working with, to give you an idea of what you're doing. Okay. So once you've closed it up to your satisfaction, you can continue closing it up all the way once you've actually finished your whole granny square. Now we're going to move on to the next round. So yarn over and pull up a loop. That's chaining 1. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull up a loop. So you're doing another chain 3. This chain 3 is going to be right above your last chain 3. That's going to be your first stitch of the next round. We're going to put a double crochet into the top of each stitch that we did before. So let's start there. So go ahead and in this first block only, put 1 double crochet at the top of each stitch. So the top of your stitch is literally like at the top of your stitch. So here's the stitch, and that's the top. You'll have these 2 strands. You should have 2 strands. You should have a V over your stitch. Over your hook. That's how you know that you have your hook into the stitch correctly. So this is my stitch. I'm yarning over. I'm going into the top. I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop and continue doing my double crochet. Do the same thing for the other 2 remaining double crochets in this round. Yarn over, find your stitch. This is the stitch. Go into the top of the stitch. And I have 2 strands on my hook. Once you've done that, you're going to chain 1. And now you're going to work 2 double crochets. Sorry, my mistake. Don't chain 1. Once you finish off your 4th double crochet, you're going to directly put another double crochet into this hole here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to put a 5th one, but we're going to work into this hole. So yarn over and put 1 double crochet into that hole. And then chain 1. And then now, once again, put another double crochet into that same hole. And then continue working into the top of the next 4 stitches. So yarn over. This is the stitch. Find the stitch. and this is the top of the stitch. I have my bee here, my 2 strands, and that's what the top of the stitch looks like. Put a double crochet into each stitch at the top. So on this round, you will have 2 more stitches on each side than the last round. So I had 4 on each side last round. I should have 6. So continue putting your double crochets into each of your stitches, into each of the tops of the double crochets from the previous round. And when you get to the next hole, we're going to do the same thing we did for the last round. Sorry, for the last side. We're going to yarn over and go into that hole. Put 1 double crochet into the hole. Chain 1. And put another double crochet into the same hole. And then continue putting 1 double crochet into the top of each stitch. Find your actual double crochets and then find the tops of those stitches. So this is the double crochet. Once again, I'll show you. This is what the edge looks like. This is the double crochet, and this is the top of the double crochet. I'm going in there. Once you have 1 double crochet into the top of each double crochet from the previous round, and you come to your hole, we're going to put 1 double crochet into the hole, and then we're going to chain 1, and put another double crochet into the same hole. And then continue on finding the tops of your double crochets and putting a double crochet into the top of each double crochet from the previous round. So you should have 6 double crochets on each side, giving you a square 6 by 6 by 6 by 6. And this is my last, my yarn is tangled, I'm sorry. This is my last hole that I've come to. I'm putting 1 double crochet into that hole. I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to put another double crochet into that hole. And I'm going to join with my chain 3 that I started this round with. So to join with the chain 3, find your first actual double crochet, find the top of that stitch. We're not going in there. We're going into the hole, the loops next to it. So this is the top, this is the loop next to it. Insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull through the loop that's on your hook, slip stitching your first and last stitch together. And then once again, we're going to chain 3 and we're going to repeat what we've been doing. So I have made it just about all the way back around. I want to show you how to finish off that first line that I mentioned that you're starting on your actual 3rd stitch of that line with. You're not starting at your first stitch of that side. So when you finish this last side and you come to your last hole, you put your first double crochet into that hole and you chain 1. You're going to put another double crochet into that hole. That second double crochet is your first stitch of your first side. So this side here has the 8 stitches it should. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Then I did a chain 1, and then I put in the next double crochet. That double crochet is starting off my first side here. I have this double crochet here next to this hole from the previous round that doesn't have any stitch in it. You need to put a stitch into that double crochet. So I've put my second double crochet into this hole, and you see this huge gap, empty space here? This chain 3 goes with this stitch. This guy doesn't have any one. So you need to put a stitch into the top of this last double crochet from your previous row. Once you've done that, now you're ready to join with your chain 3. As I showed you before, find the top of your first actual double crochet. That's the top of your stitch. You're going to join into the hole next to that. So insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull through the loop on your hook. So this is where I'm completing my granny square. I'm finishing off. I've done 3 rounds. It needs to be stretched out a little bit to lay flat. This yarn is weird like that. It could also be that your stitches are too tight, but I find that no matter how loose I stitch my stitches, I crochet my stitches, the square does need to be pulled a little bit into shape. And as you do that, you'll see. Make sure that you do have the right number of stitches around each side. To knot off, you're going to take your hook out of this slip stitch. Just put your fingers through that loop, grab your yarn, and pull up. Now you're ready to knot off. And just cut. Pull out from the working yarn. Make sure you grab the working yarn and you yank from there. And you're done. You can just kind of tug it into place, shape it a little bit. And for this center, take your tail, gently but firmly pull to close off that middle. And it should look something like this. So you're going to take that darning needle that I talked about in the beginning, or yarn needle, this guy, and you're going to thread your end into the needle, just like a regular needle and thread. Find which way your end sits better, whether if it creates a bump going to the left, then move it to the right. And you're going to sew this end into your project. So you want to kind of try to weave it in between the stitches. I'm just placing this needle in between the stitches so that you can't see. And if you just try to do this with me, you'll see it's actually fairly easy. I'm just going into the gaps between the yarn, and I'm going to work my way down. You want to make sure that you can't see the yarn from either side and get it pretty well hidden in there. Just weave into your stitches. Do a little bit at a time and then pull, because this yarn is a little sticky, so it can be a little difficult if you try to do too much at once. And make sure that you are not pulling your tail down too tight, because then that'll create a dent in the top here. And then once you've gone a little bit one way, you want to turn, go in the other way, choose another direction to move in. Make sure once again that you can't see the yarn from the front or the back. So I try to just kind of find, the natural way. Like this is moving this way, so I try to just kind of go in there and move with the yarn. Move in the directions that the yarn is moving to get it hidden in there nice and neat. So you want to just go down and then either to the left or right, and then you want to come back up. So you want to actually come back around. That will keep it from opening up in the wash, and you'll really be able to use your work without worrying that your tails will come out. And then I'm going to work back towards where I started from. I'm not doing a very neat job with this. I just want to give you an idea of what you're doing. So that's basically it. You want to do a good few inches, and then you can just snip off the end of the very end of your tail. If you don't get that sewn in, it's too long. You've done a good, I don't know, 3-4 inches. You can just cut off the excess and then wiggle your work a little bit, and it'll get hidden in there. And that's it. You're going to do the same thing with this tail from the middle. This one is way easier. You can actually just go around in a circle and hide it into the middle. So just keep going all the way around. So do a little bit at a time, because as I mentioned, the yarn is sticky. Do a little bit, yank it out, and then do a little bit, pull it through, and like so. Just keep working it all the way around, and it'll get nice and tight and hidden, and your work will look so nice and neat. You can wash it as much as you want, and those tails should not come out. So I hope that was helpful. And before you cut off your tail, actually, you want to make sure that you do tighten and close off the center before you cut your excess tail, and once you've weaved it all the way around. So maybe keep tightening as you go to make sure that your hole in the center is closed up. So I hope you liked this video. I hope it was helpful, and I hope you turn out with something as cute as mine turned out. And please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or any confusion. I would be happy to answer any crochet questions and concerns that you have. Please give me a thumbs up. Give this video a like if you liked it. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribing puts my channel in the subscriptions tab on the left-hand side of your homepage, YouTube homepage, I believe. It just makes it easier for it to come back to, sort of like bookmarking it. You'll also get updates every time I release new content. I try to release new content once a week. I know it's been a crazy time, so I've been missing for a while, but I hope to get back to a regular posting schedule. So once a week, my videos come out, and I do crochet for beginners. I hope to see you back here next time, and stay safe, everyone. Thank you for watching.